What has been your relationship with failure? What up, champions, and welcome to step number 6 of Awaken Your Inner Champion Masterclass. Today, I have the privilege of talking with you and sharing my relationship with failure, and I trust it will help and guide you to have a new perspective on this thing that we have been led to believe is wrong. So that's why it's called Failure is Your Friend. So let's start off by defining failure as in two different ways. There's a difference between being a failure and having a failure. All right? So to be a failure is the omission of expected or required action. It means you did not do it. You did not show up. You did not take action. You laid on the ground and did nothing. That is being a failure. Having a failure is being unsuccessful at achieving one's goal, which simply means you set out to do something and you did not attain it. You did not have success at that thing. Now here's the difference. The person who is a failure never started. They never took action. The person who had a failure set out on an adventure to attain something and they did not have success. What's the difference? The adventure. The person who did not start did not change. They remained the same on the spot. They did not move. The person who set out is now a different person because there was a journey to be lived on the way to attaining that goal, to achieving that goal. And even though they did not have success in achieving that goal, they still had to go through a journey to get there. So they had a failure because they didn't achieve the goal, but they became someone different. They were able to learn on the way. So today we're going to talk about that. And we're going to change the notion. We're going to look at failure from a different perspective. So the notion of failure, this, guys, is so important. Here's a big reason why we have such a negative connotation when it comes to failure, because we have been led through society and pretty much everything in society to stay focused on the result of failure. And here's what I mean. So I'll read what I wrote, right? The notion of failure is perceived as wrong because most of the time we are led to see the result of failure and not the actual journey of it. Here's what I mean. In sports, we see the game. We see the games, right? We don't see the practice. We don't see the off season. Because all the emphasis is put on the games. In school, we see the graduation. We all gather together for the graduation. But where's everyone when people are studying in the library and have to go over and over and over and they miss and they fail at something and they go over it again until they get it right? We don't see that. We see the graduation. And that's what I mean. We are conditioned to see not the journey of failure, but we're conditioned to see and stay focused on the result of failure. But the most important part is the journey, because it's during that part that we become who we are, that we build the life that we want to build. And there's this great quote by Usain Bolt that said, "I trained 4 years to run 9 seconds." I trained 4 years to run 9 seconds. That is 4 years of training over and over and over, of missing, of getting it, of missing, of getting it, over and over and over, to run 9 seconds. And we all go crazy. And that's because we've been focused on watching that 9 seconds and forgetting the 4 years that was put into running that 9 seconds. When we're able to take notice of everything we go through and realize that every failure is actually a stepping stone, it's a lesson, it's a key to learning about us, then the game becomes interesting. So I have 2 scenarios that I'd love to share with you. I want you to imagine you are facing an unending wall. And on this wall there are doors that are about 6 feet apart. And it just goes without end. All right? And on the other side of this wall lies the life of your dreams. Everything you could ever want is on the other side of this wall. The only way to get to it, right? All these doors are locked except for one. There's only one door that's unlocked. And your only chance of getting to the other side is finding this door. What would you do? You go to the first door, it's locked. Do you sit down and say, oh my goodness, that's about it? That's about where my life ends. This first door is locked, so I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to let time pass. But you know, like on the other side of this wall lies the life that you want. Whether it be traveling wherever you want to go, when you want to go, with who you want to go, buying whatever you want, doing anything you want, guys. It's on, like, the spouse of your dreams is there, the car of your dreams is there, the destination of your dreams is just on the other side. And there's one door that allows you to cross through that, to go through that wall and live that life that you dream of and make your dreams become reality. There's one door. Would you stop at the first locked door, or would you go to the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth until you find that door? Now the question is only answered, like, you answer that to yourself. I know for myself, I'm going door to door, failure to failure, learning, and being patient, taking patient action, going to every door. All right. It's not perfect. And know this, take this, all right? Make sure you note this down. Every locked door brings you one door closer to the one that is unlocked. Let me say that again. Every locked door that you go to brings you one door closer to the door that is unlocked for you to go through and live the life of your dreams and make them reality. The only thing is, you have to go to every door until you find the one that's for you. All right, that's scenario number 1. Scenario number 2. The life of your dreams, instead of being on the other side of a wall, is at the top of a building. This building has no doors. The only way for you to get to the top of the building, let's say it's 1,000 feet up. 1,000 feet. The only way for you to get there is to pile up your failures and make stairs out of them to get up. All right, building blocks. You use your failures as building blocks. You might be asking, okay, Jay, how do I use my failures as building blocks? I am happy you asked. The way that we use failures as building blocks is when I set out to achieve something and I miss, it's important to go see why I missed. What worked, what didn't work. And to keep using what works and to stop using what didn't work. And better what worked. This creates a great foundation, right? I fail. Why did I fail? What worked, what didn't work? Boom, that's one step. I go up the step. And I keep working, I have another failure. Why? Perfect. Use that as another step. Now these are strong foundations because the person I am becoming on the way up I'm having progress. I'm growing. A human being is meant to grow, not stay stagnant. So I'm growing with every step because I'm learning of what worked, what didn't work, what made me happy, the emotions I felt as I missed, as I had success. And here's a great way of not building a great foundation is having a failure and believing we could use it as a building block, not learning from what happened. Let me say that again. The best way to assure that you become a failure is by having failures and not learning from them. Your foundation will not be strong enough to hold you because you will have a failure and you will believe that it's a building block. And remember, if you don't go look at your failure and learn from it, it's very weak. You're going to put it up to step on it. You're going to step on it and it's going to be wobbly. And then you're going to have another failure and you're going to be like, okay, well, I don't have time to go learn from that. So I'm just going to put it here and I just need to get to the top. I just need to hurry up and I need to, because the life of my dreams is up there. And if I just keep going forward and not learning from anything I'm doing, maybe I'll get there. I promise you'll never get there if you don't learn and if you don't become a better person as you're getting there. So important, guys. The reason why is because true success is in who we become in the learning of our failures. That's the key. That is the key. It's who we become while we're learning about what worked, what didn't work. We're able to build us. That's the most important part, guys. So, this quote hits every time I hear it. The only way you can be a failure is if you stop at your first failure. Make sure you write that down. The only way you can be a failure is if you stop at your first failure. All right? The circumstances have always been the same. What you're living, what I'm living, people have lived for thousands of years. People are going to live what we're living. The only difference, what separates losers, what separates a failure, what separates someone being a failure from someone having a failure is, so we'll categorize them as losers and champions. So what separates losers from champions is that champions keep getting up no matter what. They keep putting in the work no matter what. They keep showing up no matter what. The champion decides to see and use failures as lessons and tools to catapult himself into a future, not without failure, but a future filled with growth. So the champion understands that every time he falls, it is an opportunity to learn and move forward. It is not a time to stay down and complain. There are many words we could have used there instead of that, but we'll use complain. The champion decides. Remember, decide is to cut off any other option and say, I am moving forward with this. This is the only option. And I leave you with this, guys. We say that having failures, failure is your best friend. And always remember, there's a big difference between being a failure and having failures. Being a failure is stopping after your first failure. Having a failure is being a champion and using those failures to learn from yourself and build the future you want. And this hits. Because once you become a champion and learn from your failures, you will no longer have any. Not because the failures have changed, but because of your perspective. Because of your perspective. You will see failures as opportunities and not mishaps. Remember this. If it wasn't meant to happen, it wouldn't have happened. So, champion, today, I urge you to take notice of the opportunities that you have been given to grow. It's time to start winning.